Hey everyone, I wanted to talk to you guys really quick about the feeling that you need to do all the things in your business in a day or in a week or even in a month. I spent a lot of time this morning with a lot of students on one-on-one sessions, and some of them had some really big things in common, and a lot of it was they were finding that they needed to just pile their schedule in with a lot of stuff. And we're talking about coaches who are just starting and coaches who have been in this for a while. They still get stuck in that mode of where they're just piling their to-do list with all of these tasks and distracting them from their real purpose, which is, showing up for their audience, whether it's live or on a post, whatever it might be. And when we talked about the things that help them build their business, like creating freebies, I remember the look on one of my students' face. I told her when I started my business, I created a new freebie every single week and a new blog post every single week. So I tied in the freebie and the blog post. And she was just, oh my gosh, that's a lot. And yes, it is. But when you're just starting your business and you are just using organic marketing strategies to build your list, to build up your expertise, to show that you know what you're talking about, pumping out that content for free is what's going to give you that. Lindsay's the go-to person for starting your coaching business. So-and-so is the go-to for this. Show your expertise, but don't overwhelm yourself while you're doing it. And one of the pieces of advice I gave to one of the students today was, you have to be creating content every week to put out there. And whether it's through a blog post or a podcast or whatever it is, but I don't want you to completely disregard the fact that you have a family, that you might have a 9-to-5, that you have non-negotiable tasks to do in your business either. So one of the things that I would suggest you do if you're just starting is create content to put out there, but only do it on certain days. So for me, for example, when I first started doing weekly content and weekly blog posts, I worked 2 weeks ahead of time. So I always knew that if, a kid got sick or I just didn't feel like writing something or making something, I had a little bit of leeway. So on Mondays, I would write a blog post for the next week, and I would create a freebie for the next week I would give myself Monday through Wednesday to do that. So it was easy for me to write a blog post, and it was easy for me to create a freebie. When you're finding that it's not easy to create things anymore in your business, you know that you might need to take a break. Or if it feels overwhelming for you to write a blog post, you might need to take a break from it. Or maybe you're a podcaster and you just don't know what to say anymore. Well, then take a break. But putting out that weekly fresh content, especially in a lot of your niches where there are a lot of people Googling. One of our clients has a business where she talks to postpartum moms. And we were talking about the habits of postpartum moms, and we were talking about how, I'm a mom, she's a mom. Those late nights when you're sitting on your phone Googling things and reading I never read any more blog posts than when I was pregnant and then after I had the baby. So her go-to place for putting out content is going to be blog posts, because that's how a lot of moms digest content, because they're nursing or they're just sitting there feeding a bottle and they're reading. They want to be quiet, so they're reading. So we have to think about our audience. What would they like the most, and how often would they like it, and how would they like it? Do they want to listen to it, read it? Are they going to look forward to seeing new things coming out from you every week? And by saying you have to put things out every single week, that's not a forever plan. It's just not. If you want to create a new freebie every week, you can. But once you have a good amount of freebies out and they're floating out there around Pinterest, on social media, and your list is building consistently every day, then you can take it down a notch and you can start creating a freebie every month. And that kind of cuts down your time where you're sitting there constantly creating landing pages and email lists and the automations and the thank you pages. That cuts down your time greatly. But it's something that you have to do in the beginning to build up that momentum. I don't care what anybody tells you. That's what's worked for me, so that's what I'm going to teach. And then once you're into a good groove, you can do something every month. But I still recommend putting yourself out there and getting fresh content out there, whether it's a blog post or a podcast episode, is a good method to just continuously get your voice heard. or maybe you do an Instagram live or whatever you might do. I like to do these IGTV videos. I find that they've been going really great for me, but I also have a weekly podcast. I haven't blogged in a few years, but people still visit it. It's just, it's people are always going to visit blog posts. So having just a lot of content out there is going to keep people, bringing people in and building up your list through that, through the podcast, through Instagram, whatever. So choose your platforms, 1 to 3 of them, and then create a schedule around them. Put out content, share your expertise, show up for the people who want to hear from you and see you, and it's all going to come together. It's not going to come together in a week or a month. It's going to take a while, and you have to be okay with that because nothing happens overnight. And I know there are those amazing wonders where their business just hit the ground running and they seem to have their clients and they're ready to go. But those are rare occasions. And the majority of my students, they're working on their business and they're building a strong business. And I always say, I'd rather have my house put together slowly and thoughtfully than have somebody rush through the process and it's built very strong and weak and it doesn't work well for me. Okay, so put thought into your planning and everything will work out. I thought this was a great place to have a discussion about it. Let me know your content strategies, how often you go live, how often you put out freebies. It'd be interesting to hear from you, and I hope you guys have an amazing day.